Hi, this is Christopher Unger from Real Masterminds. So, on today we're going to be talking about the past Super Sentai, which was Patarangers versus Lupinrangers, or Lupinrangers versus Patarangers. The order doesn't really matter. It's basically cops versus thieves. Or if anything, if you're a literature fan, the Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes. It's a neat concept. It's a change of pace because you have two versions of Rangers, three each, one being the cop, one being the robber, each with their own little backstories. And the thing is, I like the costumes for Lupinranger. Sleeks, really brings out like awesome, cool type characters. And then you have the Patarangers, and it's like you trying to do SPD or Ranger, and then you have a costume that is just too on the ball with the modern day police officers in Japan. It's too on the ball, and it makes the costume all disgusting looking. I'd say when I first watched the first episode, I tell you this much: it was not a bad episode. It made more sense because if you ever watched Lupin the Third, you would understand. Cops come in. Oh no, Lupin's here. We're gonna try to capture him. All of a sudden, they escape, and then it's a whole chase scene. Pretty much that was the whole episode, the first ever episode. Then every so often, it just gradually got worse. Like we had a whole dance episode, which made no sense, but for hysterical reasons, and then it killed me on the inside. Don't get me wrong, I mean, certain ones had the emotions. The only thing is they kept doing more emotional episodes and flashbacks. It's like I was watching Arrow all over again, CW Arrow, where they just have flashbacks like every 15 to 20 minutes just to at least progress the story, but it never made any sense. He says that he's been on that island for 6 years, but no, he hasn't been on that island at all. The whole time he's probably been on there for almost we'll say 3 years tops. And every other time it's like either he's being transported somewhere else or being kidnapped. I mean, I tell you this much: the ending wasn't really as great, and you had some great villains that could have at least lasted a little bit longer, but of course, pa! Dead. Pa! Ended. And the whole, what was it? The silver and the gold saves, sure, the items they used were basically, well, the ones that they used for the transformations or the power-ups did help out, and then you had the ones that basically were treasures, even though they're basically certain aspects of the Super Sentai's past that they used for props. They literally took the props or morphers and colored it a little bit differently, and it was more nostalgia, but really drawn. It didn't make any sense. As a whole, I would try not to invest into the series or expect great things, because I tell you this much: when they showed, like, say, the Lupin Red getting his power form, which was basically a jumbo jet with wings on his body, cool. Pataranger, nothing. Got nothing whatsoever. Also, to reiterate, there is red, green, and yellow for Potter, and then there's red, blue, and yellow for... Oh, red, green, pink for for Patarangers, and then you have Lupinrangers was red, yellow, and blue. So in total it's 6 Rangers, and then you have the 7th, which is basically the one that basically is the double agent, who, by all accounts, is not really a double agent for the Patarangers, but more of the Lupinrangers. He had a cool transformation and a really toyish morpher.
Change.
And you know what? You got, what was it? The first episode of him appearing, which was in his silver form, which is basically Lupin Silver, which gave him the ability to, I don't know, reflect any damage, well, physical damage he could take. And then the gold, I don't know what his special ability is, besides, what was it, parkouring throughout almost few of the episodes, and trying to act French, but you know he's Japanese.
Bonjour. French set を一つ.
You actually had a French woman on one episode who spoke perfect Japanese, and then you had the Lupin X and slash Pataranger X. He tried sounding French, but it's like, I don't know. It didn't make any sense at all. But sure, we got a character who could change forms. Like, we haven't seen that before.
It's Morphin' time! Zeo Ranger 5! Red! Tiger Zord! White Ranger Power! No! Take your best shot! Dragon Zord! Green Ranger Power! Time to finish!
The, we'll say, story behind it was simple. For the Lupinrangers, they actually had, an actual backstory. People that they cared about or people that they loved were, taken from them. That they thought they were killed by the Ganglers. Yes, that is the bad guy's name, Ganglers. Bad name for evil villains / aliens. And each one of them, except for the, minions? The minions were actually not that bad looking. It's definitely says French with a little bit of gangster. And then you had the golem things, which were not that bad. And then you just change the color to make them even stronger. Whoop-de-doo. But back to the backstory. So pretty much when the characters for Lupinrangers actually had, saw their loved ones, die in their arms, which is basically them encased in ice and shatter like glass, some butler comes up to him and offers them the chance of a lifetime, become Rangers. And we'll say he's like the butler of Zordon without Zordon. And apparently find out that Arsène Lupin, which is the one who created the Lupin collection, rip-off, basically entrusted them with certain collections that made them transform via the VS Changer, which is basically the gun that later we find out, by the end of the first episode or second episode, that even the Patarangers even had, before they even had the transformation, which basically given the gun as well. And we also find out that because of the motivation that they, in order to actually get back their family members, they have to collect all pieces. And guess what they did with the final episode? They didn't collect all of them at all. Yet they also saved their family members. So what is their purpose anymore? Just being there. Collecting the pieces, that's it. That's all you're going to do. It's taking a premise that could have been really great, and then you had a villain, which is Zamigo. Yeah, that's the name. It's a terrible name for a rival / enemy. Cool character.
Phrasing.
because he uses ice attacks. And apparently, when he freezes someone, he doesn't kill them. They basically just get teleported somewhere. Yay. All in all, he was a good character design, great actor who played him. But yeah, I mean, it had a lot of promise. Definitely more downs than ups. Killed off characters that could have at least last a little bit longer. But all in all, I didn't see it as a great Super Sentai at all. Even the Patarangers, they're protecting and serving the global defense force. And their interactions with the Lupinrangers were too obvious. You know, them trying to blend in with society. The Lupinrangers are blending in with society by opening up a cafe that also serves French food. And, hell, what was it like? The first few episodes, like almost up to episode 10. Potter Red, Ichigo, number 1. Thought that they were the Lupinrangers. And then for some weird reason, oh no, they are not the Lupinrangers. It was very simple that they could, especially since there was multiple signs. The owners of the cafe kept disappearing for no apparent reason, and the same time that they were there, the Lupinrangers also appeared too. A lot of clues. Not the greatest detectives in the world. You could smack them on the back and say that they did a good job, but they're terrible at their job. The best they could do is basically comedy. The best they could do. I would not want them on any case anywhere, no matter what their objective is, because each one of them is terrible. We'll go down the list. The red one is too hot-headed, but he wants to do a good job. The pink one, she's tough on the outside, but also has a soft side for really fucked up, well,
phrasing,
messed up stuffed animals. If you ever watch that episode, it makes sense that she's into the cuddly things, but come on. And then you had the rookie, who's basically the Green Ranger. Rookie, sharpshooter, but I don't know, he's just very annoying, which I hated the most out of the series. Going to the Lupinrangers. The red one, you know, snarky kid, doesn't really care about much anything, doesn't like to show it. Makes sense for a leader. Then you have the cool Blue Ranger, who's basically the chef and very serious. And then you have the yellow one, who's cheerful. Nothing to say anything else about it. And apparently the Green Ranger and the Yellow Ranger had, well, later in the series definitely will have a relationship. To give it. All in all, I can't say it's a good series. Something to watch, yes. For certain parts of it, you would definitely say it has its moments. Even the transformations, it's just like they're all connected. I mean, come on. The same weapon they use to transform into the Megazord is the same one that they use for special abilities. They are connected, and of course, with the silver and gold, it literally is the starting point to say they are connected. They are a thing. It's bad. It's really bad. The concept in of itself, the terrible plot holes the size of an actual black hole. It's mind-boggling. And it's not that I hate the series in general, it's just that the they go through. And then they try to make it sound cool and hip and awesome looking. Even the Ultrazord is nothing spectacular. It's literally their vehicles combining into one. And then you have a big VS in the background, because reasons. Another terrible thing. Okay.
Oh, here it goes.
There was literally this one episode where the red Pataranger lost his memory, and I'll tell you this much. The captain is an African American who speaks fluent Japanese. The red Pataranger, actually mistaken him for Eddie Murphy. I you not. Eddie Murphy. And we're talking about the actual character who basically plays the captain, actually dressed up as Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy as a joke. Seriously? That's really messed up. And then he had the robot sidekick for it. It's like cute, cuddly. It's, you know, get some toys out of it. But there's nothing really great about it. If anything, they could have made him into like a power-up mode, if anything. Like a search tool or something. But, again, a side thing that makes no sense. Another thing that made no sense, well, made sense somewhat, was basically the Silver/Gold actually being what the Gangular's planet is. He was the race before the Gangulars took over. A descendant. And apparently, what Arsène Lupin did was, he actually gathered, we'll say, a few of the race that was still left over that fled to Earth, and took them in as servants, not family. Besides the fact, as a whole, it defeats me when I try to say that it's a good show. Granted, too many wide shots, too many, like, overbearing action scenes that made no sense whatsoever. There's no real, like, say, thievery. It's just them appearing like, okay, come out of nowhere, someone's making a big speech. Oh, they open the safe that the monster had, and all of a sudden take it out. Sure, that's a thing. There's no real heist at all. So you can't put them as Lupin or great thieves at all. They just have, okay, we're going to have a monster every week. It's going to come out. Going to do something. Going to explain its, special ability that it gained from the treasure, which is basically another rip-off of past Rangers items, or Super Sentai items. And then, through stupid reasons or plot holes, either the Lupinrangers or the Patarangers would get the treasure. And another thing, towards the end of the season, the weapons that were used for the Patarangers that they keep using was also the ones that can also lock the safes. Like, change the combination. Yes, there's actually combinations, like they actually have for the Lupinrangers, combinations for the locks. What? When the hell is this going to be explained? Oh yeah, we're going to throw it all the way towards the end of the, second to last episode, and never explain why. Because, plot point. Another reason. Gosh, the one that basically is like the rear repulsor who just make my monsters grow.
Make my monster grow!
They had many opportunities to defeat her or stop the monster from growing, but of course, due to her just appearing for just, let's say about roughly 4 minutes.
I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes, eh?
Or 2 minutes. Just literally appeared, does her dialogue, and shoots a green, literally flubber thing, makes the monster grow. But the thing is, it's not the monster's body, it's a damn safe. So apparently the safe is also a part of the body, which makes no sense because It's an attachment. It's an attachment to the body. It makes no sense. It's like if you enlarge a watch. It's not going to have the same DNA that it had on me. No. DNA doesn't transfer like that. Yes, you have little skin cells, but it doesn't make sense that way. I mean, it might be her special ability, especially with the, we'll say, the Lupin collection that she had, which was basically, what was it? She could see through things, and I forgot what the other one, because it's very forgettable. Even Destra, whatever his name, the one that looked like basically a biplane with grenades on his arms. He was actually a really good villain, and then killed off, and then the main bad guy was like, oh no, my right hand is killed. I'm gonna get really depressed about it and not even do a damn thing. And they make a lot of, we'll say, questionable decisions. And then nothing. Nothing grand about it. For a while there was nothing grand. It's like he was making like a big plot, big presentation that took literally almost like, we'll say like a whole month for it to actually implement. And then, granted, he was a good, boss battle for a little bit, but he really didn't do much. Yes, he wiped out a whole city in one blast. Yay! His safe was all chained up. This series has too many plot holes and not enough answers. They had some great potential to at least make something out of it. At least make more, like, impossible things for them to actually, break into. Or something that really would trouble the Patarangers. Like, say, an actual hostage situation. Something that the police would normally do. Not have dance recitals. Not go out on, like, random dates with someone and get scared for no apparent reason. Not have terrible dialogue and waste literally an episode that made no sense and somewhat brought some people from the other teams actually somewhat together. The alter egos. But all in all, terrible, terrible, terrible. It crushed the idea of something that Super Sentai has been going, but died down so dramatically. It's terrible. No matter what, if you get some joy out of it, you get some joy out of it, but I just hope the next series, which is Dino Knights, originally it was going to be Dragon Knights, which would definitely make more sense, but we have Dino Knights. Granted, the costume's literally like a generic ripoff of, we'll say, the past one, which was Kyoryuger's. And the Megazord is more slicker looking now. Nothing really that new. And of course, for that one, they have like the Red Rangers, Megazord being the main body. Other than that, I can't. There's too many plot holes. Nothing really grand about it. Some definitely memorable, and too many terrible things about it. If I were to give it a 10, like a 1 through 10, it's at least like a 5. A 5 or a 4 on my scale. Because it's very, very bad. It had potential. It had potential to at least be something thrilling, interesting. Great monsters. Just no real point of that, point that they want to stick to. They just rather throw in too many ideas to fill in a few slots. Throw in enemies that would actually cause the two teams to actually work together. Which makes better sense because, good guys and bad guys working together. Even though they're not bad guys, they're more thieves, whatever. But yeah, this is my rant on the Patarangers versus the Lupinrangers. Lupinrangers versus Patarangers. One or the other. The next one I'm going to be doing is we'll say the first impression that's going to be coming up in the next month of the Dino Knights. The Ryusagers. There we go. Ryusagers.
Go, Green Ranger, go!
Oh yeah, since I'm wearing the Green Ranger, just to note that still love Tommy Oliver, but of course the most overused character throughout the whole entire series. Other than that, still much love. But yeah, that's my review. Till next time, this is Christopher Ungehoyer for Real Masterminds, and we'll see you next time.
Go, go!